guys. I woke up at 6:30. Hold on, I need to catch my breath. So I have really exciting news. So I woke up at 6:30 a.m. today, which is early for me, and I felt super inspired and compelled to really jumpstart my UX design portfolio with a real life project. And so I reached out to my former employer, a Massachusetts state senator, and he responded to me very quickly and said, "This sounds like a great proposal. I would love to have your pro bono service to help improve engagement of my website." And I was so thrilled that my morning just sped up like 100 miles per hour. I would have gotten a speed ticket. The next thing I have for today is an afternoon meeting to touch base on this project with the senator, the chief of staff, and the communications director. This meeting is the initial meeting to generally do two things. One is to define the goal of the project, and then two, define expectations and constraints. Right now, what I'm going to do for the few hours I have to prepare for this interview is, one, I'm going to continually check my email to see if my mentors have responded to provide guidance on how I should prepare for this meeting and what questions I should be asking. But the thing I can do myself is to prepare questions. So I'm going to write a list of questions that I want to bring to the meeting that will be pertinent to establishing a good rapport and good baseline for this project. I do have limited time, and as much as I'm excited about this, I am also kind of stressed. So I want to be very well prepared for this meeting, and so I'm going to hop off and do my homework. Sorry for the shift in quality, but I wanted to quickly record how the meeting generally went before I go to bed today. It went really well. It was a very productive meeting. I'm over the moon with how on board the senator is, because I know that with pro bono cases, and I guess with some projects that UX designers take on, the first task is to actually convince the stakeholder of the value of user experience. Lucky for me, the senator understands the value of user experience design, so we actually got straight to talking about alignment. So, this included stuff like timeline, existing constraints, what success looks like for the senator, what his goals generally are for the website, my initial thoughts on the layout of the website, all that juicy good stuff that goes into level setting. Okay, but I will say that the unique challenge of this project is that although I don't need to convince the stakeholder, I might have to convince the engineer of the team, who is not really part of the core team. Okay, so this is the situation. The senator's office hires a political consultant who manages the website, and so it's unclear whether he actually implements the designs, like if he has any technical design skills, or if he's just the manager and he outsources the engineer to do that job. So my first task is to schedule some time with the senator's team to meet up with this political consultant, to level set with him, to gauge a few things. One is to first introduce myself as the UX designer on this project. Two is to gauge what his technical and design skill sets are. Three is time availability to commit to this project. And then four is his level of interest of being part of this project / his level of ownership of the website. So this is where it's interesting to be a UX designer in this specific project, because it's all a balancing act. Like, I want to help the senator with improving the website so it's easier for constituents, but I also don't want to step on any toes, which is why these sort of meetings is really important to level set. I think that's just the best way to put it. So I'll go into more detail about this. Overall, it was a really good initial meeting, and we have a lot to work off of. So I'm going to continue documenting my progress. For now, I'm going to go to bed because I am tired. So good night. Good morning. It is currently 7:30, and today is the day where I have the meeting with the political consultant along with some of the senator's staff to scope out the situation. So what is this man's role? What are his technical and design skills? Because that's going to help inform me of the potential solutions that I can offer to the senator in terms of the redesigning of the website. This meeting is also important because it's an opportunity to set the foundation for the entire team. So last week I level set with the senator's office, and this meeting we're going to loop on in the last person, so now we can be fully aligned on the vision of the new website. And that's going to be very important because as a UX designer, you never ever want to work in silo. I'm going to be working back and forth with the senator's office, but also this engineer or whoever the engineer is on the project to figure out what are the possibilities for solutions of this project. But before I jump into my workflow, I do have some dirty dishes because your girl was sleepy last night, so I saved some of the dishes for the morning. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make some coffee, and then we are going to get started. Alright, so we have the coffee on deck. Now what I'm going to do is I have 2 hours left until the meeting, so I'm just going to review the questions and refresh my eyes on the senator's website just so that I am as prepared as can come. So that's what we're going to do, and then I'll check back in after the meeting. Okay, T-minus 15 minutes, and look at this situation right here. Not presentable. So as much as I am prepared, I don't want to be showing up looking like Pastura, so we are going to get this fixed and then jump into the meeting. Okay, so I just wrapped up the meeting about 2 minutes ago, and I have some thoughts that I would love to share with y'all, especially because I'm feeling some sort of way walking away from that meeting, and I'm hoping that in unpacking this, I will get more clarity on how and what I'm feeling. First off, let me preface by saying that it was a very productive meeting. The gripe that I had at the meeting, and am still holding on to a little bit now, is the challenge of advocating for the importance of user experience in the new design layout. I knew that I had to do some convincing to the engineer or the political consultant of making the layout more user-friendly so that ultimately the website will be easy to use for constituents and that the constituents will want to use it. Because mind you, right now, there is very low traffic on the website. From the data I groomed out, there has only been about 14 visitors in the past week, and that number is not far from the average amount of visitors in the last month. That is to say that there are not people using this website, so we have to solve that issue. And yes, sure, the UI, the look of the website plays a part of that, but is it the biggest part? I would argue not, especially because from my research, I think the strategy that we should be using to resolve this issue is through the information architecture of the website. So what do I mean by this? Well, right now the website is not intuitive to use. I believe that that's the result of the labeling of the tabs, the grouping of the information, the general layout of where the information is on the website just is not intuitive, especially for a community like the Senators District. There are a lot of bilingual speakers and non-native English speakers, so if you can just imagine this. Imagine a Spanish-speaking constituent having an issue with housing, and she is directed to this website only to not understand where to find information on this website. So that's where user experience can really come in, is how do we really simplify this website so that it is universal and easy to use for many of the constituents of Senator Lewis. That essentially is my contribution to the project, right? Like, I am fighting for the user and making sure that with whatever redesign that we do on the website, the ultimate goal is to simplify the website and make it easier to navigate. Now back to this meeting, that was not the focus at all. We first started with introductions between myself, the communications director of the Senator's office, and this political consultant. Now, through this process, I am confirming that he is not a designer, he is not an engineer. In fact, he is the liaison of the political consultant company that he works for, and the role in which he has in this meeting is more of a sales representative kind of person. After introductions, he walked us through his company's new portfolio of web designs that they have launched for other elected officials. I'm not gonna lie, they look very fresh. We then started to level set on the dynamic and ask for the project. So this is where I had the opportunity to step up to the plate and really bat for the users and say, hey, this is so great. I'm so glad that we're getting a refresh on the Senator's website. But the issue is that whether the website is pretty or not, we just don't have any users using the website. So that's where I offered to take lead on the information architecture. We also landed on a solid place at the end of the meeting. So the next steps include the political consultant emailing us a list of website templates for us to choose from, along with the corresponding quotes. From my end, I'm going to take lead on the information architecture. I'm going to work with the Senator's office to get his approval on a finalized version. From there, I'm going to relay that over to the political consultant so that he can assign his team of designers to implement those changes. So overall, it worked out, but in the moment, it was very frustrating to reprioritize the user experience in the design, especially because the tone of this meeting was very salesy. It was all about the new look of the web design and not so much the content of the website and how to expand the reach and impact of the website to our constituent base. So I guess this gave me a real taste of what it's like to be a UX designer at the business table. And yeah, guys, it's pretty challenging, but I'm not one to back down from a challenge, and I think that we have arrived at a good compromise. So I'm looking forward to what comes next in this project. And on that note, I'm just going to close out this video. If you're interested in following along in my progress with this pro bono project and see where it goes, then please tune in my later videos. Thanks so much for dropping by, and I'll see y'all later.